guys, and welcome to another review slash tutorial on the Hantek1008C. Let's get started with what's needed with the Hantek. First, you're actually going to need the Hantek software and the Hantek driver for the 1008C. Now, in this video, in the description, I'll actually be putting both links, so you guys will be able to go and click on the links, and then it will bring you to the description of where you guys can actually go and download it on the Hantek site. It'll bring you straight to it, so you guys won't have to go and click through the site. And just the Hantek can either be put onto a PC, a laptop, or a tablet that's actually fast enough to carry the program. So it gives you a little bit of versatility into where and how you can carry it. There is an adapter that you do need for the Hantek to actually plug in, and if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be a USB female to be in order to plug into the tablet. So just keep that in mind if you guys do want to use a tablet with it. Okay, so now we're actually going to get into the Hantek 1008C and see what it can do and what it can't do. So first, we're just going to come over here, vehicle diagnostics. This is actually, if you click on this, it's actually going to bring you up to an area, and you're actually going to be able to do run test on ignition primary and secondaries, windings. It's going to give you some sensors, and when you click on these, it's going to be preloaded with a little diagram that shows you what the waveform should look like. So if, like, say if I click on let's go with camshaft, then we'll go inductive, and this is what an inductive camshaft signal should look like. Now if we come and we click on this, it'll clear the reference for you, and then we click on it, it brings it back, and if we click the back, well, it'll bring it back. Now camshaft AC, camshaft Hall effect 1, camshaft Hall effect, there we go. So this is what a camshaft, Hall effect camshaft should look like, and same thing, you click on the reference and it'll go away, you click on it again, it'll show it back up. Click on the back button again, and we're gonna go back to click on this back button again one more time, and we're just gonna go to the oscilloscope just to get the basic oscilloscope functions out of this. So first off, what you can come over here and you can press this more button, and we're going to go on view, and we're going to go to toolbar. Now on toolbar, it's basically going to give you everything that's here is going to be on this side, and it's also going to be in here at the same time. So keep that in mind, that if you don't want the toolbar up here, you guys don't need it, and you guys can just use this area, the more button, to do all the measurements that you want. So the time frame goes from 1 nanosecond all the way up to 20,000 seconds, which is pretty substantial. I don't even think the Snapon actually goes to that. So that's for your time frame. Now your channels, it is an 8-channel oscilloscope. You don't need 8 channels, but if you want to use 8, you can. Now in order to bring it down to 1 channel, 2 channel, 3 channel, 4 channel, you click on this little channel button right here, and you click off all off, and you can actually select 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on which ones you want. I only need 1 channel because I'm only going to be using 1 channel for this review. So all off, channel 1, and click OK. Now it's going to take it and it's going to bring it to 1 channel. Perfect, that's all we needed. So after that, what we're going to do, we can come over here and we can actually see our voltage scales as we want. If I'm not mistaken, if we click on vertical, okay, and we can actually change our time division from here, and as we change it from here, you can see that your time frame actually changes over here. So I'm going to keep it on 1 volt, and well, we can actually bring it and see, and it goes on 5 volts per division on this one. So basically you can have a total of 40 volts on one measure up to 40 volts on your divisions. So if you take it, you put it down to 1 volt, which is what I'm going to do, it gives you 8. So I got 8 volt division, but I'm not going to need 8 volts, so I'll bring it up here, and that's how you move that, how you move your voltage scale around in order to get an accurate measurement. And after that, what else can we do? If I'm not mistaken, we also have amps. The amp settings are actually going to be in here, if I'm not mistaken. So if I click on this, it should change my scale up to amps. And I don't need amps, so I'm going to go back up to my voltage. And I'm going to keep it on 1 volt and at 1 millisecond for all my testing purposes. Now we're going to come over to the more button. Now we're actually going to get into some features of the Hantek itself. So we're going to come over to the more button. The view I already showed you guys. So you click on the toolbar, it'll bring up this guy over here. Now to setup, the vertical, horizontal, and record, these 3 right here, and your trigger also are actually right here. Your horizontal, vertical, play, stop, this is your record feature, and your trigger is actually right here. So if you come up here, you can actually click on trigger setup, which is going to be this guy right here, and they only give you 1 trigger mode, which is on the edge. Trigger sweep is auto. I keep it on auto, that's my personal preference. Channel 1, and trigger slope, positive or negative. So either your trigger slope is going to be going up or it's going to be going down. Whichever one, that's where it's going to catch it. So now the Hantek comes with a 2 volt, 2 kilovolt generator onto it. So that's what we're going to be using for this test. So I'm going to plug it on. As you guys seen, it just came on. I took it off, and there we go. Now, as you can see, it's actually the waveform is actually sweeping. So in order to stop it, we're just going to come over here. We're going to take and we're going to grab our trigger, and we're going to bring it up. And since it senses the rising sweep, it's a slope, sorry, and it's actually going to take it and it's going to freeze it for us. Perfect. Now, after that, we can actually come here, and we're going to come back to setup. We went through perfect. We're going to come over to the display. Now, on the display side, you have type, which is vectors and dots. Now, vectors and dots is basically going to be how you see your waveform. So basically, if you come over to display, type, dots, it's actually going to change it to this. Now all this is right here, as I said. Okay, so you get to just take and click on vector again, and it'll bring your waveform and make it look normal. Well, I find it looks normal. So there we go. So your grid, if you click and you click on your grid, it's going to take away your grid lines or dots as they show up on here. So you can actually take them away and put them where you need them. Now you don't need the dots if you want to use your cursors, which we will get to in a minute. Now the intensity is actually the grid scale itself. As you can see, I can make that go away. I can make it come. I can make it fade out, and same thing with your waveform. It's the same thing. So that's for what the intensity button is for. Now, the grid back color, you can actually change the color of the background itself, which is this area. So let's just say I want it to be this color. Well, now it's purple. So you can leave it purple, you can bring it back black. I'm gonna bring mine back just because. And that's it for the display. Now we're going to go into our cursor. Now the source of the cursor will depend on what channel that you want to read. So if you guys want to read channel 1, well, you put it on channel 1, and then you'll read the cursors for your channel 1 if you want your waveform for your channel 1. Now if you guys want to read the waveform for your channel 2, then if you got your channel 2 hooked up, you would click on source, click on channel 2, and then you guys would change the waveform for that. So we're on channel 1, so we're going to keep it on channel 1. Now the type is, I don't use cross, I don't use trace, I use you go to vertical, and your vertical will give you your frequency and the time that from your time on to your rise time to your fall time. Okay, so if I come over here, I'll click here. Now, in order to get your vertical frequency and your time, you actually have to take and click on where you want it, and then click again and hold, and then bring it over. Now, this is shown down here. And you can see my time is 511 microseconds. Now, if I come back up here and I turn my grid back on, just to show you guys why I keep the grid on, because right now I can actually see that I'm actually at half. I'm actually at half of a millisecond right here. Because don't forget, this is 1 millisecond from here to here. And I'm actually at half a millisecond, which equals up to 500 microseconds. And the frequency of one waveform, one cycle, is right here. And that is equal to 1.956, which is pretty close to what the Hantek is supposed to be putting out. It's supposed to be putting out 2. There's always going to be a small deviation in the frequency and in the voltage. I mean, it's never going to be exactly where it's supposed to be. So if I come here, and let's just say this is my 0 line, and now I'm going to go and I'm going to put from there to there. I got 1.92 volts, which is pretty close to my. Actually, I could bring that up. I'll bring that up. There, and we'll bring it down. And 1.196. That's where. That's the voltage of my waveform, the max voltage. And that's what the horizontal cursor will give you. Now, and that's for your cursors. So your cursors are right there. So we're good with that. So now measure. Your source is either going to be channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, whichever channel that you want to measure your voltages or your frequencies, your duty cycles, or anything on. So, and it'll actually do most of it automatically for you. So when you come to your vertical, if you want your maximum, it's going to be 1.93, which is pretty much what we said it was. And your minimum, we'll come back, measure on your vertical line again, your minimum. And volt minimum is negative 2.39, but if I move this, no, it won't move. Okay, I thought it was going to move. So that's your minimum voltage on that. Which I'm probably going to have to calibrate this, but anyway. Now if we click on measure again, vertical, top, base, middle, measure some RMS, amplitude, mean, cycle mean, positive overshoot, negative overshoot. Measure, clear measure. And if we go to measure again, and vertical, we did them all. Horizontal, you can go from period, your frequency is 1 kilohertz. There it is. So that's my total frequency right there, which just says it's 1 kilohertz. So from start to start is roughly 1 kilohertz. So now if we come to measure, go back to horizontal. We can do our rise time, which is this, our fall time, which is on this side, our duty cycle positive, which is going to be 50%. Duty cycle negative is still going to be 50% because the off time is the exact same as the on time, which will equal out to 100%. And if we go back to measure, we go back to horizontal again. The pulse width is at 500 milliseconds, which we already measured. If we actually go from this area to this area, right here, that's your pulse width right there. That's one pulse width. That's basically your on time, and you can also measure your pulse width of your off time, which both of them added together will equal your total pulse width. So from there to there, and our pulse width for this cycle right here, which is 1 millisecond, is 50% on, 50% off, pulse on at 500 microseconds and pulse off at 500 microseconds, and then it turns back on. So, like I said, you have to play around with it to get all your stuff up. But at the same time, me personally, just from going through this, if you're just starting out and you really want to know how to read on an oscilloscope, I would go with the Hantek, just because of this. Because the Snapon actually gives you everything. It tells you everything. And also with the Snapon, it doesn't give you as much information as the Hantek does right off the bat. You actually have to you have to record your video, and then you can take your video and go analyze your video, and then you'll be able to get all the information that I'm getting right here on the screen. Now, it doesn't mean that the Hantek is a better oscilloscope, not at all. It's just that for me personally, if you want to actually get to learn how an oscilloscope works, this seems to be the better choice so far. You're gonna see I'm gonna hook up the Snap-on after, and I'm gonna get like all these measurements, and it's gonna do it automatically for me. But if it's giving me these numbers and I don't know how or what I am reading, what's the use of showing me these numbers? Whereas the Hantek will actually show you the numbers, and it'll give you a better understanding on how a waveform is supposed to be read compared to the Snap-on. So my personal opinion, if you're first starting out, so far Hantek is the way to go, just because you will actually be able to put in these numbers yourself and not have the machine do it for you. And it's always better to put the numbers in yourself and let it mess around with your mind a little bit, just so that you guys can start to understand how an oscilloscope works and how you guys can read stuff. Now, this is only using a 2-volt and pulse generator that is from the Hantek itself. So, is it valid? So far, it seems to be. We're gonna hook my Snap-on up to it, and we're gonna see exactly if the Snap-on reads what it's supposed to, reads what the Hantek is reading off of its pulse generator. Hopefully it will, because if it doesn't, then the Hantek might actually be off, with the leads are off, or something else might be off. Who knows? So now I'm gonna be switching over to my camcorder, so you guys are probably gonna have a different video, and also the audio is gonna be different too. But I'm gonna be switching over to my Snap-on, just to give you guys an idea of what the Snap-on does. Like I said, the Snap-on is a lot faster. You don't have to go through all this stuff, but at the same time, for the price, it depends on what you want. Me personally, I think I might actually start trying the Hantek out, just to see how it works onto vehicles that I work on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to switch over to my camera now, and just to give you guys an idea of what the Snap-on Modus Ultra is, oscilloscope is like. And you guys, and me personally, like I said, for starting out, I already used my Snap. I find that for a beginner, the Hantek is actually very, very good, and it will teach you a lot more than what the Snap-on will. But I'm going to stop repeating myself again, and I'm just going to go over to my Snap-on and show you guys how that looks. Alright guys, so now we're going to start on the Snap-on Modus Ultra. So first we're going to just power up the oscilloscope. You're going to come after you get it turned on. As you can see, I haven't even updated it. I'm still at 15.2. So, scope meter, lab scope, 2-channel lab scope. It's going to boot up. Now, from here, since we only watch one channel, we just click on the little eye, and it's going to take away channel 2. And this is how you move your baseline. Now when your baseline moves, your 0 on everything on this side is going to move. So basically you're going to have the same thing as on the Hantek. Your vertical is actually going to be your voltage, and your horizontal is going to be your time. So right now it's at 100 volts at 10 milliseconds. I don't need AC coupling, and my trigger is set up to a positive slope, so that's good. Now we're gonna leave all the settings like that, and we're gonna take and we're going to put on the voltage generator. Now I do have the ground lead for channel 1 hooked up to the ground of the Hantek, just to clear up the signal, because if I don't, well, the signal isn't as pretty, as you can tell. We'll drop down the voltage. We'll just click that. As you can tell, that's what it looks like. So the ground, at least I know that the ground inside the Hantek is actually okay. So we're on 5 volt at 10 millisecond. Now I'm actually going to leave it at 5 volt at 10 millisecond because I played around with it and it actually will not go on 1 volt 1 millisecond. Well, it will, but it doesn't read properly. As you guys can see right here, this is what I get, and I can't really do anything with that. Just based off this, as you can see on the Hantek, we actually had, if I'm not mistaken, 10 divisions on time. So your grids I actually had 10 milliseconds, whereas on the Snapon it has a 1-to-1. So I have 0 to 1 millisecond. That's it. Where the Hantek I had, this was one little grid on the Hantek, and it went all the way to 10. So I was able to see up to the 10 millisecond time frame from start to finish, whereas this one, it's actually only showing me 1 millisecond at a time. So if I come here and I want to change it, we'll change it to 5 millisecond. As you can see, I can see a max of 5 millisecond. That's it. So on a 5 millisecond time frame, let's put it at 2 volts, see if that helps out. There we go. I should be able to see, let's put my trigger, capture it. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. So, and now we're going to get into the min max and the cursors. So, as I said, the Snapon, there is basically nothing that you have to do. Everything is down here. So my minimum voltage is 0.013 volts. My maximum voltage is 1.951 volts. And then if I want my cursors we'll take that one, we'll put it there, let's take this one. So this will give me my frequency, and it will come from there to there. Maybe it'll work. Come on. So just to set up the cursors, there we go. So I'm right on 2 kilohertz. So it's reading exactly what the Hantek is supposed to be putting out, which is perfect. Now, and right here you have the time on, which is 0.5 milliseconds. So it's on for 0.5 milliseconds, or 50% of the time. Now if I come over here and I move it to this one, that's 1 millisecond right there. Then you can see the amounts down here. So, and that's 1 kilohertz. So it's reading just like well, close to 1 kilohertz. It's reading pretty much the exact same as the Hantek. And basically all the features that I just showed you on the Hantek, I just went over on the Snap-on that quick. Now remember what I said. If you don't know what these numbers mean, brush up on your oscilloscope, and I would suggest that you use more the Hantek if you guys want to get into oscilloscope training. It'll give you a better idea on what's actually going on with the waveform, whereas a Snap-on, it actually gives you everything right there. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you guys have a good day.